Hey everyone, today we have a Excell 2600 PSI pressure washer here, Honda 5 horsepower engine, horizontal shaft. Excuse me. I wouldn't say these are the bad kind. I mean, there's probably no such thing, but it's not the commercial kind. But the problem has nothing to do with the engine. It's everything to do with a certain surprise that came out of it. That's this. That came out of the pump. Usually that's not a good thing. Hope I wouldn't have to mention that, but it's not. In this pump, there's these arms that go back and forth with the rotation of the engine and creates pressure. Well, the story is, the owner was using it, heard cling, and then no more pressure. So they are going to try to see if it'd be worth fixing it, which, yeah, you can. Or is it worth just getting a new pump? So first things first is we're going to have to take all this off. There's this cover. When you take off these fittings, that just requires a wrench. That should just come right out. This one, I don't remember. Let's see. I feel like there's like an Allen head somewhere. Okay, it'd be a lot easier if I had two hands. There we go. Yeah, there it is. So that Allen head just screws out the entire post there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those off. It's been a while. I don't even know how long. Or the pump, and quite literally I calculated it out before I went on the camera. And this pump right here has traveled 5,700 miles, and it came from the East Coast, went to the West Coast. Now, anyone who knows their geography knows that it's not 5,700 miles, so it went on a few detours. But whatever. You have a couple half-inch right here I took out. You do have to take off this bolt. Once you take that off, it should come right out. There's a hose that likes to be a real pain. Now it's connected. Oh, that's right. Let me disconnect the hose. This rubber piece goes in this little hole, and it kind of holds the little hose on to prevent it from dragging on the floor, I'm assuming. There we go. Wow. Okay. We'll look at that later. This comes off. Now, right here is a set screw. Yeah, find the right size and take it out. So it looks like the magic Allen head to go in there is a 5/32. And of course, that's the most common of sizes. Okay, so now that we're done. So here's the thing about this. I was told it was running and then it lost power, and then it was brought to me a day or two later. I want to hear it run. I don't want to hear it run because I didn't know if there's going to be more damage to the pump, and while yes, I knew I was going to be replacing it, I didn't want to completely destroy it and run the risk of jamming something, maybe damaging the crank. But see how this crank is really, really short? The reason why I want to notice this is you have to buy a special pump. See how that is basically the same as, well, same level as the outside. That's the reason why, is because of that. It has a very, very short crank. So when you buy a new pump for this type of engine, you have to make sure it specifically says it's for an Excell, or that it takes a shallow crank. Usually the only ones I've ever seen, to be honest, are Excells. So if they say they do Excells, then it's gonna be fine. This is a 2600. The pump that I got says it can go up to 28, but considering the size of the engine, I'm pretty sure it's probably gonna be closer to 26. Let me put you up and then we'll see if it actually runs. Hopefully the noise isn't gonna get you if I have to charge something real quick. I'm gonna let my neighbor borrow it, but it should run just fine. It might run a little off with no pump because it's wanting a load, but if it starts, we should be seeing relatively no issue. On, plug, choke. So I'm not going to be too concerned over that. It was started cold and it had a little hard time getting going, but it's fine. Once you let it warm up a little bit, it smoothed out significantly. And like I said, it's expecting a pump, so it's not going to be too happy without it on there. Let's go ahead and put one on. I'm pretty sure Excell realized that what they had before was a finger guillotine, unless, I mean, maybe they didn't, I don't know, but the pump they chose is more of a newer style, which is good for the replacement, which is what we're going to be putting on. But here's the thing, if you notice, this is not a key. Well, it is, but not the key we need. The key we need is the little slot in there. Now, you can go to a local hardware store sometimes. You can go online, whatever you need. You can get one that is too long and cut it, make it fit whatever you need. Luckily though, when you buy the replacement, it comes with a very short key. Put a little anti-seize on there. So what this gray stuff is, it's anti-seize, and without needing too much explanation, I'm hoping it basically just makes it so it doesn't seize. Pumps see water, and metal creates rust, or at least this metal does. And rust means that if you ever need to replace this pump again, you are not going to be very happy if it is rusted to the point where it practically welded itself to the shaft. So what I'm doing now is I'm just making sure the key slot, the keyway, is relatively the same place that I want to put it. Now, on this one, both the intake and the in and out are both on the same side, so that's good. If you have one where it's at opposite, I like to put the out not facing the exhaust. Anyone who's ever been using it and then burned the hose will understand why. So right now I'm just lining it up. And the key does like to slide a little bit. We're just gonna put it back where it needs to be. And there we go. So now, the hard part is just to put these back on. Something I did kind of neglect to show, or I don't really want to because it's going to take forever. When you take off these bolts, it is going to be significantly harder if you take off the top ones first, because then that pump does like to kind of rock a little bit, and it gets even worse if you've already taken out the bolt on the back. If you haven't, then it's probably not all that bad, but if you did, it's just gonna tip down and put a lot of pressure on it, and it's gonna be real hard to take it out. So I like to take out the bottom ones first. That's not tightening. There probably is a torque spec on this, but I'm just going to go to the fact that nothing on a small engine should be torqued down super tight. It should just be snug. And that goes also for this. I might have just burned the side of my forearm on the exhaust. Luckily it's not that hot. You're kind of in the way for the other one. Remember those awkward days in health class when you had to go through the anatomy? We're going to do the kind of the same thing except for a pump. This is the outlet, inlet, that's easy enough. This is a soap dispenser, so if you want to put soap, go ahead and do that. Over here, however, is a thermal release. That is not where you put your soap line, so remember that. And this is your unloader valve. If you run into an occasion where you haven't used it for a while and there's no pressure when it first starts, more likely than not, if you just take this pin out, take this out, lube it up, you should be fine. One of the final things to go over is a quick connects. If your old one had one, go ahead and take it right off. They should fit. Good luck on taking it off. It's most likely rusted on there, so be careful. That's what happened with this one, but they have the same inlet, threading, size, all that, so you shouldn't have a real big problem except just removing it. That's what I did on this one, because before there was a generic one on there. The person that owned this had a quick connect for a different hose. The hose is insanely large for this pressure washer, but it's their hose. So we want to make sure that that hose can go back on there. And the only way to do so is by putting the old quick connects. You can also buy new ones, but if no matter what you do, just make sure to put Teflon tape on there. It doesn't have to be the pink kind. That's just what I have. I'm pretty sure there's no difference, but yeah, I'm going to connect it. Now, just because it's a new pressure washer doesn't mean that you shouldn't, or new pump, doesn't mean you shouldn't let a water run through it with the gun on it with no tip. Just let it run for a good minute or two until you don't hear any more air bubbles. You just kind of want to give it the best chance you can. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will bring it back and we'll give it a pull. Okay, have it done. So literally spent like 3 minutes getting the air out. It might still be left some in there because that's like a 100-foot hose meant for a 4,000 PSI pump. Not the smartest idea, but we're still going to give it a try. So unfortunately it does surge, so we'll fix that, but we'll be in a different video. Be on the lookout for that one. But I wanted to take this opportunity to show what happened. See right there, that's the part that broke off. Not only is it cast aluminum, but it's cast aluminum, so it just kind of slides. It will never build pressure like that. I originally thought you could potentially weld it. Maybe you can if you really wanted to, but no, it's too far in there. You'd take off a lot of stuff, and then you'd be replacing a lot of seals and gaskets. It just wouldn't be cost effective. So this is just a bad design. As you can tell, like right there, there's the other side where it's actually full and complete. So this new design is a lot better, so I'm not going to worry too much about doing anything with this. Just recycle it. So I wanted to show what ended up happening. I don't know if it was too visible while it was on the machine, but as you can tell, like it literally, you should not be able to do that. That's where the broken piece is right there. I think there's even another broken piece. Oh yeah, this whole thing's broken off. See? So it's a matter of time before the other piece falls off, and they have to do it again. Well, okay. I'm gonna sign off. Look for the surging video. Definitely keep watching. Subscribe. See you later. Have a good night.